I've been going through a rough patch lately. I'm losing. Every single game. It's obviously my teammates' fault, but I can't go around blaming them forever. It's time I took things into my own hands. Instead of relying on teammates, I'll play completely solo like the good diamond player I am. But what can I do to help with that? Enter TenZ, CSGO prodigy turned Valorant professional, who was NA's first ever player to hit Radiant and a Valorant Masters 2021 winner along with Sentinels. TenZ recently put out a video in which he does a deep dive into finding your optimal sensitivity and settings. What perfect timing! A video that every teammate I've had in the past 2 weeks could take a look at. After watching the video, here are the notes I've compiled which I'll be applying in game. But before that, we're closing in on 10,000 subscribers. We're going to be doing something that I legally cannot reveal now in the next video, which you won't want to miss, so please consider subscribing.
So when you're using a low sense, you're basically giving up speed for precision. And then when you're using high sense, you're basically giving up precision for speed.
So how do I find out what sense is right for me?
And so what you're going to do is you're going to take your actual DPI. And so personally, I use 1600 DPI, right? Doing the eDPI is 280 and you divide it by whatever your DPI currently is. So I would highly recommend you go onto Google and search up PSA method calculator. And there's a lot of different websites you can see. Like I can see the perfect sense approximation method and it's a starting sensitivity. So I'm going to put out 0.175. Basically, when you're going to pick, so let's say I pick higher, lower, or higher, stuff like that. I'm just picking some random ones right now. And I'm just going to see that once you go through 7 different iterations, you're going to find out what your approximate perfect sense is. That's why it's called the perfect sense approximation.
My current DPI is 800, so when we put my settings into the PSA method calculator, this is what we're left with. I've gone ahead and tested all of these in a deathmatch, so let's look at the results. Yeah, all of my matches sucked, but I did come to the conclusion that my sense preference is definitely on the higher side. After going through 7 tests, my perfect sense was listed as 0.44. Now onto settings. Firstly, video settings. Graphics can really be dependent on the player. My PC is on the mid to high end, so I'm fine with my video settings cranked up a bit. For graphs, this should do. The rest of the settings TenZ talks about are mainly for quality of life, but they were actually of use for me personally, so I'll quickly go through them. First is to have a keybind that alternates between the zoom level of your operator. Second is to have your equip spike and plant spike buttons on a separate keybind, that way you can drop spike with more ease on sight. Third is making sure your crosshair color doesn't mix with your enemy outline color. Things get a bit tricky for me because I'm colorblind, so I prefer to use a green crosshair on top of a yellow outline. And that's it! TenZ's video is obviously more in depth, so it's worth checking out. You're not here for depth though. It's time to see if the problem was me all along or my teammates as I suspected. And let's just say, the answer will shock you.
Fuck, good shit.
Oh, what the hell? It was my teammates' fault all along.